Betty White is a name that instantly brings a smile to millions of faces around the world. For over 70 years, she graced our screens with her quick wit, infectious laughter, and unmistakable charm. To many, she wasn't just a TV star. She was a symbol of joy, resilience, and timeless humor. From her unforgettable roles on shows like The Golden Girls to her hilarious appearances in countless interviews and specials, Betty seemed like the kind of person who had no secrets, no hidden struggles, just pure, unfiltered happiness. But what if everything you thought you knew about Betty White was only part of the story? What if, just 2 years after her passing, her family decided to reveal something they kept tightly under wraps? Something so deeply personal, so unexpected, that it shakes the foundation of her public image and makes us see her in an entirely new light? That's exactly what's happened. The world has been waiting, watching, and wondering what the true story behind Betty's final years was. For 2 whole years, her closest family members stayed silent, protecting something that felt too private to share, until now. And what they've revealed isn't just a behind-the-scenes detail or a forgotten anecdote. It's a revelation that challenges the way we remember one of the most beloved figures in entertainment history. Imagine the weight of carrying such a secret. For decades, Betty was the ultimate entertainer, always quick with a joke, never afraid to laugh at herself, and endlessly positive even in tough times. But as with anyone who lives in the public eye, there's always more beneath the surface than the world sees. Sometimes the brightest stars hide the deepest shadows, and sometimes those shadows remain hidden until the time is right. Her family's decision to finally open up wasn't taken lightly. 2 years may seem like a long time, but when you're dealing with grief, privacy, and the pressure of public curiosity, timing becomes everything. They wanted to respect Betty's legacy, her dignity, and the memories she left behind. But now, with the world ready to listen, they've chosen to share what they believe is the most important part of her story, one that wasn't told during her lifetime, and one that many fans never saw coming. What is this secret? How does it change everything we thought we knew about Betty White? And why did her family wait so long to tell us? Over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack this hidden chapter of Betty's life, from her astonishing career to the private battles she faced, to the ripple effects of this revelation on her legacy today. This isn't just a story about a famous woman who made us laugh. It's about courage, resilience, and the complex reality behind the smile we all loved. So stick around, because the truth behind Betty White's biggest secret is finally out, and it might just change the way you see her forever. Betty White's career is nothing short of legendary. Spanning more than 7 decades, she became a household name not just because of her talent, but because of her unmatched ability to connect with audiences of all ages. From the moment she first appeared on television in the late 1930s, Betty brought something special, a blend of humor, warmth, and a kind of timeless relatability that few performers can claim. Her early days were filled with trailblazing moments. At a time when television itself was just emerging, Betty was one of the first women to not only act on TV, but to produce her own show. This was no small feat for a woman in the entertainment industry during the 1950s. Her pioneering spirit helped pave the way for future generations of female entertainers. But it was the 1980s and 1990s that truly cemented Betty's place in pop culture history. Her role as Rose Nyland on The Golden Girls showcased her comedic genius and ability to play innocence and sweetness with a sharp edge. The show became an instant classic and remains beloved decades later, thanks in large part to Betty's unforgettable performance. Millions came to admire her character's naive charm and comedic timing, but behind the scenes, Betty was always more complex and layered than any role could show. Her career didn't slow down as she aged. If anything, it accelerated. Betty embraced social media and modern platforms with surprising enthusiasm, winning over a whole new generation. From viral videos to guest appearances on late-night shows, she proved time and again that age was no barrier to relevance or influence. She shattered stereotypes about aging in Hollywood and became an icon of longevity and vitality. Yet, while her public persona was full of energy, humor, and resilience, those close to Betty knew she carefully guarded her private life. She rarely spoke about personal struggles or hardships, choosing instead to focus on making people laugh and feel good. This created a mystique. Betty was like everyone's favorite grandma, full of stories, always ready with a joke, but never revealing too much about her own battles. The public adored her for that sunny disposition, but it also made the secret she and her family have kept so closely even more surprising. To the world, Betty was a constant source of joy, seemingly unshakable and invincible. But what many didn't realize was that beneath the humor and charm was someone who had quietly faced challenges with immense strength and grace. Her career wasn't just a collection of roles. It was a testament to her determination and spirit. Betty White was more than an entertainer. She was a cultural icon who inspired millions by simply being herself, never losing her spark even when times were tough. Her legacy goes beyond the characters she played. It's about the resilience she embodied every day. As we look closer at the private side of her life, what unfolds is a story of contrasts: the dazzling star the world saw, and the private individual whose true struggles were kept out of the spotlight. And what happened after her passing, with her family's decision to reveal what was hidden, adds a whole new chapter to that story. But this isn't the end. The real secret lies just beyond what we've shared so far, and it's something that changes everything we thought we knew about Betty White. When Betty White passed away, the world mourned the loss of a beloved icon whose presence had brightened screens and hearts for decades. But while fans flooded social media with tributes, the family remained silent. For 2 full years, they chose to keep something deeply personal under wraps, a secret so sensitive that revealing it too soon could have overshadowed Betty's memory and caused unnecessary pain. This silence wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate, carefully considered choice. Losing someone as monumental as Betty White isn't just a private grief. It's a public event watched and dissected by millions. The family faced an impossible balancing act, honoring Betty's legacy while protecting their own emotional well-being. They needed time to grieve, to come to terms with their loss, and to decide when and how to share the truth. The decision to remain quiet for so long raised questions. Why wait 2 years? What was so important that it couldn't be revealed earlier? Many fans speculated endlessly, wondering if there were conflicts within the family or some hidden controversy. The truth, however, was far more complex. This secret wasn't just a piece of gossip or a scandal. It was something deeply tied to Betty's personal dignity, something that required privacy out of respect for her life and memory. 2 years gave the family a chance to prepare emotionally and mentally. Grief, after all, isn't a linear process, especially when you're dealing with a public eye. They had to weigh the impact this revelation might have on fans who saw Betty as a timeless figure of joy and strength. Revealing personal struggles or health issues too soon might have changed the way people remember her, perhaps unfairly coloring her legacy. But there's another reason timing was so crucial. The family wanted to control the narrative themselves. In today's world, where rumors spread like wildfire and every detail can be twisted or sensationalized, having the space to tell their own story was vital. They weren't going to let outsiders define Betty's final years. Instead, they waited until they felt the moment was right to speak openly, honestly, and with the respect Betty deserved. And now that moment has come. The family's decision to break their silence after 2 years wasn't just about sharing information. It was about reclaiming Betty's story and presenting the truth on their terms. They knew it would surprise many, perhaps even shock some, but they believed the world deserved to know the full picture. This silence also speaks volumes about Betty's character. She was known for her privacy and grace, rarely discussing personal hardships publicly. It's clear she wanted her life to be remembered for laughter and love, not struggle. Her family's silence was, in many ways, an extension of that wish, a final act of protection for a woman who had given so much of herself to others. But now, by lifting the veil, they invite us to see Betty White not just as a radiant star, but as a human being with complexities and challenges. The timing reflects respect, healing, and a readiness to face the truth. What exactly did they reveal? What was this secret held so close for so long? It's something that reshapes our understanding of Betty's life and legacy in ways no one could have predicted. And as we move forward, we'll uncover that secret, the hidden truth that changes everything. For 2 years, Betty White's family held tightly to a truth they weren't ready to share with the world. It wasn't about protecting a scandal or hiding something shameful. It was about honoring Betty's deepest wish, to be remembered for the joy she gave, not the pain she endured. But now they've finally revealed what they had kept quiet for so long. In the final years of her life, Betty White was privately battling a rare and degenerative neurological condition. It wasn't Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, but something less well-known, a disorder that slowly affected her motor skills and occasionally her speech. Her mind, they clarified, remained sharp as ever. Her humor, untouched. But physically, she was struggling. And she didn't want anyone to know. To the world, Betty White was the picture of grace and vitality. Even into her 90s, she was working, giving interviews, making appearances. What most people didn't realize is that as the cameras rolled, Betty was carefully managing symptoms behind the scenes. Her family revealed that toward the end, she had to rehearse simple movements repeatedly and relied more heavily on assistance for balance and coordination. What seemed effortless was, in reality, a carefully choreographed performance, not out of vanity, but out of pure professionalism and a desire not to be pitted. But that wasn't all. The condition, unnamed in their statement to protect her dignity, had been slowly progressing for years. Betty knew what was coming, but she faced it with the same quiet strength that had carried her through decades in Hollywood. Her family shared that she made the decision early on. She didn't want to be remembered for her decline. She didn't want headlines speculating about her health or images circulating of her at her most vulnerable. She wanted to go out with a smile, on her terms. That's why her final public appearances were carefully curated. Every red carpet, every interview, every photo shoot was timed around her good days. And when those good days became fewer, she chose to disappear from the spotlight completely, preserving the image people had of her, the sharp, funny, radiant Betty White the world adored. Her family kept her condition private not just because she asked them to, but because they knew that once it was out, it would dominate every conversation about her. And for Betty, that was never the point. Fame was never about attention, it was about connection. She believed in making people laugh, comforting them in hard times, and never letting them see the pain behind her eyes. The decision to finally speak out came with a simple reason. They wanted people to know just how strong she truly was. Not just strong in spirit, but strong in resolve. She didn't just light up a room. She fought every day to keep the lights on, even as her body began to betray her. And now, knowing what she endured in silence, her legacy only grows more powerful. Because Betty White didn't just live a beautiful life, she chose to protect it, right until the very end. Betty White's family revealing this deeply personal secret has shifted how many of us see her, not just as a beloved entertainer, but as a quietly courageous woman who faced immense challenges with grace and dignity. For decades, Betty's image was one of boundless energy, sharp wit, and unstoppable humor. Now, knowing what she was dealing with behind the scenes, that image becomes even more inspiring. This revelation adds layers of depth to her legacy. Betty White wasn't just a funny woman on television. She was someone who endured hardship while continuing to bring joy to millions. Her ability to keep such a private struggle hidden speaks volumes about her strength and dedication, not only to her craft but also to the fans who loved her. It also challenges the way society views aging and illness, especially in the entertainment industry. Too often, aging stars are sidelined or dismissed because of visible signs of decline. Betty's family showed us that someone can still be vibrant, active, and full of life, even while quietly facing a difficult health condition. She defied stereotypes and expectations, proving that true resilience is about what happens behind the scenes, not just what people see on the surface. The family's decision to reveal this secret now also offers a powerful message about privacy and respect for personal struggles. In a world obsessed with celebrity gossip and breaking news, they reminded us that not every battle is for public consumption. Some stories are meant to be honored quietly, with empathy and understanding. For fans, this new insight deepens the connection to Betty White. It turns her from a distant star into someone profoundly human, someone who experienced pain but refused to let it define her. Knowing her private fight makes her humor, her kindness, and her enthusiasm all the more remarkable. This revelation also sparks conversations about how we support those we admire. It reminds us to appreciate the whole person, not just the image they project. Betty's story encourages us to look beyond fame and recognize the hidden battles that many face, often in silence. Ultimately, this secret doesn't diminish Betty White's legacy. It enhances it. It paints a fuller picture of a woman who lived authentically, who faced adversity with quiet bravery, and who left behind a legacy not only of laughter but of resilience. As we remember Betty White, we now see her not just as a beloved TV icon, but as a symbol of strength and grace. Her story reminds us that sometimes the greatest courage is found in the quiet moments, behind the scenes, where no one is watching. When Betty White's family finally shared the truth about her private health battle, it sent ripples far beyond Hollywood. Fans around the world were both shocked and moved. Many expressed deep admiration for her courage, while others felt a profound sense of connection knowing she, too, faced struggles like anyone else. For years, Betty was the embodiment of timeless joy and vitality. She seemed unstoppable, the evergreen presence in a rapidly changing entertainment world. This revelation humanized her in a new way, reminding everyone that even the brightest stars have their hidden battles. It sparked an outpouring of empathy and respect, transforming how many think about aging and illness. Social media buzzed with messages of support, not just for Betty's legacy, but also for the family's decision to share the truth. People appreciated the honesty, understanding that this wasn't a ploy for attention but a heartfelt attempt to honor her full story. Fans praised Betty's strength and resilience, often sharing personal stories of their own struggles, feeling less alone knowing someone they admired had faced similar challenges. The conversation also shifted the cultural narrative around aging celebrities. Too often, society sidelines older performers or assumes they've retired from life and relevance. Betty's story challenged that stereotype head-on. She remained active and engaged, even when facing a serious condition. This inspired discussions about how we support and celebrate older adults, not just in entertainment but in everyday life. Her family's revelation also opened the door for more open talks about health and privacy. Many acknowledged how difficult it must have been for them to keep such a significant secret, balancing respect for Betty's wishes with the public's curiosity. It highlighted the importance of giving loved ones space and dignity during vulnerable times, especially when they are public figures. But beyond the empathy and cultural shifts, there's also a lesson in perseverance. Betty White's ability to continue working, connecting, and bringing joy, even while dealing with personal health issues, became a beacon of hope. It encouraged fans and viewers to approach their own challenges with a similar spirit of quiet strength. Ultimately, this revelation didn't just affect Betty White's legacy. It enriched it. It reminded the world that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes, they face their hardest battles behind closed doors, with courage and grace that inspire millions. As the public continues to celebrate her life, this new understanding deepens the admiration for a woman who gave so much joy while quietly bearing her own pain. Betty White's story now stands not only as a testament to her talent but also to her humanity, and that impact will continue to resonate for years to come. Betty White's life was more than just a career full of laughs and iconic roles. It was a powerful example of resilience, grace, and the strength it takes to face personal battles away from the spotlight. Her family's decision to reveal her secret 2 years after her passing shows us how much respect and love they had for her wishes, and how complicated it can be to balance public admiration with private realities. Her story teaches us that everyone, even those who seem invincible, has struggles we may never see. It reminds us to look beyond the surface and appreciate the full humanity of the people we admire. Betty wasn't just a star on screen. She was a woman who faced challenges quietly and with dignity, choosing to protect her image and her family's peace. The courage Betty displayed, both in her career and in her private life, continues to inspire. It shows us that strength isn't always loud or visible. Sometimes it's about carrying on, bringing light to others even when your own path is difficult. Her legacy encourages us to honor not only the bright moments but also the hidden ones that shape us all. As we remember Betty White, we celebrate her humor, her kindness, and now her incredible bravery. Her story will live on, not just in the shows and movies she made famous, but in the lessons she leaves behind about dignity, privacy, and the power of resilience. So, the next time you think of Betty White, don't just remember the laughter she brought to millions. Remember the strength it took to keep that laughter alive, even when facing hardships no one else knew about. That's the real secret she left behind, and it's one that will inspire generations to come.